Hey, what's up guys? My name is Joey Thomas, entrepreneur and small business educator here with 17 Hats. Now every year I try to look at my business processes, the client experience, and just to see if there's anything I can do to improve upon it. Because I am trying to keep a client for life, and I think you are too. So one area that's really key in doing that is the onboarding of a new client. Now, the term onboarding actually comes from the world of human resources. It's the process in which a company assimilates a new hire into the fold. So in its simplest form, the new hire goes from being a stranger to the company to someone who buys into the systems and the culture of the company. So that would define success in onboarding. So let's take a look at what this may mean for us in small business, but from a perspective of a new client and not a new hire. Now, I want you to remember this. The lifetime value of a client is much greater than the initial transactional value. You have to take into consideration the experience the client is going to have with your company over the lifetime that they're with your brand. So let's dive into this today and just go over 7 simple steps to really supercharge your onboarding process and create a great client for life. Okay, so before we get into the 7 tips, this phase is really important. It's your sales process. The sales process teaches your clients quite a few things. It's going to teach them what products are important, your beliefs around those products, and the communication that you have back and forth, how seamless it is, right? How efficient it is. This is going to go a long way in how they feel during the onboarding process. So let's not take this part lightly. The sale process is just a key part of really creating a lifelong client, because sometimes we just want to make the transaction. We want to make the money, but there's more to it, than just making that single sale. Now, step 1 is define the expectations early and often. Now, I know you don't want to be a broken record and you don't want to bother your client, but repeating yourself early and often as to what to expect, not only from you, but it also helps them understand what to expect of them. So expectations around payments, the sales process, the decision making, maybe meetings that are scheduled and how you would like to do that, right? So let's consider these expectations as the kickoff for the client relationship, or the kickoff for the onboarding process. So make sure you're defining expectations early and often. Number 2, and guys, you need to do this as much as possible. Automate the client experience. Automate everything you can. Now, just because it's automated, it doesn't mean you can't customize it for a variety of clients. For example, I use 17 Hats for all of my automations and my workflows. Now, one key thing that I do in the lead capture is that they can choose a different option in the drop-down menu. And if they choose a different option, a different automation is triggered. So a different lead capture email, a different process is triggered, and that is customization for the type of client that's coming through the door. But you want to automate, because everything from email automation to marketing materials to really setting expectations on what to come next, scheduling meetings, all of those things can be put into a workflow during a different timeline. And even reminders to do items at different stages of the client onboarding is key. But if you can set up that automation up front, it's going to lessen the load on you to have to remember those things all along the way. So number 2 is automate the client experience. Next is get to know your client and gather info. There's all kinds of ways you can do this, but my favorite is to automate questionnaires. I'm going to have a different questionnaire early in the process versus later. I have questionnaires go out during the lead capture, which is only 3 to 5 questions, but later on, to get to know them, I can ask them about their likes, their dislikes, the problems that they're having, what they hope to achieve. All types of things can be asked in questionnaires. But you can also get to know them in phone calls. Don't be afraid of phone calls, guys, because that's the best way to get to know your client. You get to hear their tone. You get to feel if they're hesitant about something or not. Way different than an email or a questionnaire. You can have meetings, even surveys can help you gather information. But it's not just emails, it's not just questionnaires, but social media, lives, getting them to interact with you is another way to get to know your client and interact. Okay, number 4, clarify your next steps. Always, always, always let the client know what's coming before they ask you. Once a client gets to the point where they're asking you about what's next, they're already feeling a little bit of frustration. You don't want that to happen. You want them to feel comfortable. You want them to know what's coming. It's like going through an airport. When you know that I got to check in first, then it's the security process. After the security, I'm going to my gate. It's nice to know that, but if you're the first time that you're going to an airport and you don't know what's coming next, and you're looking at the clock and you feel this anxiety, am I gonna make it? Am I gonna miss the plane? Nobody wants to miss the plane, guys. So just know that if this is their client's first experience with you, clarifying the next steps is gonna put them at ease, especially if there's a timeline involved. So always clarify next steps. Number 5, familiarize clients with all your offerings and products. Now, just because they chose one service up front or one product up front, it doesn't mean they're not interested in the rest of what you have to offer. So you want to educate, teach, and prepare the client for the products and services that you have in your brand. You want to make strategic and very intentional recommendations on your blog posts, on articles, and other resources that you've created, because it's going to help them familiarize themselves and really get connected to your offerings. Because even if they don't need it now or this year, even next year, they just might need it. So, but strategically use those blogs, those articles you've written about your products and your services, maybe even testimonials from other people, right? Because the more testimonials they have, if others are using your products and services, the more comfortable that they're going to feel. Okay, next, number 6, continuously, that means forever, assess the client's needs. See, the initial problem that they have that you're solving may evolve over time as you move forward with this client experience. Something they wanted initially might not be what they want towards the end. So you checking in with your client during the process, see how they're doing, how they feel about the process, getting that feedback is going to be key. And the more you assess their needs, the more they feel that you care about what you're offering. And it's not just about the transaction, it's about the relationship. So continuously assess your client's needs. Next, and finally, follow up and get feedback, guys. You want to make sure that your client knows that you're not afraid to get feedback, good, bad, or ugly. It doesn't matter, right? As long as you are checking in and as long as you show that you are intentional and authentic about your desire to make the processes better, right? And because if you want them as a lifetime client, you want to know how they felt. You want to know what their experience was like, because the more you can connect with their actual experience and the feelings involved, the ease, was it easy? Was it efficient? You know, did it go as they planned? Was it better than they expected? What areas can you improve? You want to put this as part of your process, because onboarding isn't over when the service is rendered or the product is delivered. You have to continue the relationship. And in getting follow-up and getting feedback goes a long, long way in retaining a lifetime client. So again, guys, this onboarding process is key. I really want you to sit down and map it out. Think about how you want them to experience your brand, and think about how you can show them that they really matter, right? Because in In a relational type of sales process, in a relational interaction, it's not just a transaction. They're not just a number. It's an ongoing relationship, and you want to clarify that. You want to make sure that they know that. Well, that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. Don't forget to subscribe to the 17 Hats channel. Hit that like button and use those comments to tell us about your onboarding experience and what has worked for you. I'll see you again soon.